It's time to put this turbo onto that Integra. We got a lot of work to do, so let's get to it. So like I just said, there's a lot to do. First thing we have to figure out is the radiator situation. I doubt the turbo will fit between there with the dual core radiator. So for now, I'm gonna take the fan out and maybe undo the tabs, and that'll give us some more leeway to help make some room for the big turb ski. That looks like a whole lot better, but I'm not thinking we can make this work. Test fit number 1. We are definitely hitting the radiator just a little bit with the turbo compressor housing. We're almost there, dude. Test fit number 2. And it's still not really even close. Guys, we were like so close. There we go. All right. It only took 2 tries. And look at that, boys. We got ourselves a turbo hanging off our Integra. She looks good. Oh man, my radiator might have been leaking. So unfortunately, I'm thinking we might end up having to flip-flop the turbo around or something, because yes, we clear the radiator, but you look at where the downpipe is pointing at, or where the downpipe will go. There's no way to make that work. So I wonder if we flip the turbo around so the compressor housing is on that side, if that would help us with our downpipe. But it would definitely make the intercooler piping a whole lot more complex than necessary. So this is good info to have. So I did go ahead and throw a bolt in there and a nut on the side there, so it's sitting relatively flat, as if it would all bolts. Anyway, so and this is what we got. So compressor housing is touching the radiator, exhaust housing is touching the radiator. That's no biggie. We can probably figure out a way to move that around or get around that. The problem I'm seeing is the fan. The fan, we're gonna have to do some serious modifications to get this radiator to work. Maybe try and figure out a way to get it mounted in front of the core support or something. I don't know. All right, so here's kind of where we're at with this radiator situation. We got it to fit with about a 1/4 inch gap between the turbo housing and the radiator, which is good enough. I don't need, this is not going to be driven on a street, but it is in there kind of jank. We got some rubbing action right there. I don't want to cut that off. That's part of the headlight bracket. So what I'm going to end up doing there and there, where it's also touching, is just cut a piece of rubber hose and just kind of stick it in there and leave it at that. I ended up drilling a little hole down there to have one of the radiator posts kind of stay in there, so it's not going to go anywhere. It's just really jank, but I don't really feel like spending the money on a single core radiator just to make this a little bit easier. Maybe if this one goes bad, then we'll do that and forget about all this, but for now this is what we're going to do. We got plenty of room for the downpipe now, which is awesome. Gonna make fabbing that up a whole lot easier. I'm gonna have to cut some more pie cuts, but that's part of the fun. Here's the semi-final product we got. I mean, about as good of a bad job as you can do. I even went through the trouble of putting a grommet in there where I drilled, so should be mint. I think next I want to go ahead and, since the feed line is going to be pretty straightforward, the drain line, it might take a little bit more work, but I already kind of want to move on to the fun stuff of fabbing up the downpipe and doing the hood exit. Switching it up, boys. Figure we would go ahead and just do the drain, so that way we don't got to keep taking the turbo on and off. Anyways, we're just going to drill it here. It's kind of hard to see because of the sun. We're going to drill a hole here, about as high on the pan as we can get it, and then we're going to throw this guy in there. So I do have a welder, but I'm not very confident in my welding skills, so I'm essentially just going to throw this in here, and it's got 2 crush washers in there that'll seal any oil from coming out. And obviously there's a AN line on one, or AN fitting on the one end, and then it's going to go into the whatever degree that is, you know, maybe 45, I don't know, but yeah, get to it. I'm gonna see if we can't just screw it through with a crescent or something. Don't want the hole to be too big. It doesn't have to be. Yeah, seems like it's going through. Heck yeah. It's freaking mint. Not gonna lie, guys, not sure how much I trust it. The O-ringed washer, the crush washer, kind of sits a little funky on the one that's on the inside there, and I'm just not sure about that, guys. Either way, it's all we got, so it's what we're gonna run. So now it's time to just throw this thing back in there and start marking up some drain lines. Got the drain finished up. I really don't like it. It kind of pinches in the middle and could possibly end up stopping the oil flow back into the oil pan. And honestly, I feel like these fittings, these AN fittings, are just, they're just gonna leak. That's what it feels like. But I guess time will tell. We won't know until we hook up the turbo feed line, which we are gonna get from the oil pressure sensor, which is probably too dark for you to see down there. But this should be pretty straightforward process. This is tried and true. This is where I'm feeding the oil turbo to the turbo oil from on the SUK as well, and haven't had any issues, any real issues there. So alright boys, check it out. There's a freaking turbo hanging off of our Integra. We got the wastegate on there. It's gonna make checking our oil pretty annoying, so we're gonna need to get some sort of aftermarket solution for the dipstick. And I did go ahead, or I will go ahead and order the single core radiator just to make this a little bit more robust, because I don't really trust this. I'm sure it'll be fine for a couple of miles, but downpipe's gonna be fun to weld up. But yeah, everything's fitting great. I got the oil feed all ran all the way down through the intake runner there, and right there to where the oil pressure sensor would normally go. It's still there, it's plugged in and everything. So for now, we just gotta, oh, and I fixed the drain as well. As you can see, I kind of got a little ahead of myself and started throwing on some couplers to start marking everything up. But the drain, I went ahead and reclocked the turbo to get rid of the kink in there, and it is like pretty much perfect. That's a good angle to have. Kind of slopes down in there. We shouldn't have any backing up issues at all. So yeah, the last thing to do now is to fill it up with oil and check for leaks. Really quick, just wanted to give a quick recap of the setup that we're currently running. So there is a potentially low-ish mileage JDM B20B in the car right now, completely stock. The only thing different is a new head gasket that I put in there. When I bought it, I went ahead and just opened it up to see if everything was okay. The original plan was to B20V tech it, but then, you know, I just couldn't help myself. I had everything left over for a turbo, and I mean, so the turbo that is currently on the car is actually meant for the Project Banana, the Turbo D36 that we were working on a long time ago. I think the video is still up on the channel if you want to go check the walk around out. But what ended up happening with the turbo is I dropped it on the ground from this table, and I just didn't feel comfortable running that turbo on somebody else's car, me being the one who accidentally dropped it on the ground. So it does make a little bit of contact with the compressor housing. The blade does make a little bit of contact with the compressor housing, but for this car, it doesn't really matter. We're just gonna run it and see if the turbo grenades itself. And if it does, it's okay. We've got a couple of spares right there, so it's no big deal. Otherwise, you know, if I had the money or the desire, I would have thrown a smaller turbo on there. It's a eBay 3582 So it's good for however much power I'd ever want. But the plan is right now to keep everything as it is, as cheap as possible, just so that I have a car to learn how to tune with. My biggest gripe with the S2000 and everything has been the fact that I haven't really been able to make the car the way I want to, because I'm always at the hands of the tuner. To give an example, recently I wanted two-step to be added to the car, and the tuner did it. However, it's pretty mild. You know, I wanted to go all party mode and all that stuff, just for you know, party tricks, whatever. But the tuner didn't feel comfortable doing it because he was scared that it would blow up or what have you. So blow up in the sense of me launching the car and hurting something, which I totally understand. I was never intending on launching the car, but he's got to protect himself. So in order to eliminate that variable with my car, I'm just going to try to learn myself. And what better way to learn on the car than a non-expensive engine platform, really, in general, to learn on. I have a spare transmission. I have the spare B18 block that I will be building to hold the amount of power that 3582 can create. This, I might get it sleeved, I might go all out, but either way, that's getting built to hold the power. And then I've got a GSR VTEC head in this box that will also be getting built for phase 2 once we're more comfortable with the whole tuning aspect and everything, because I don't want to throw in the expensive, you know, VTEC stuff, fully built stuff, and just to learn on it, just to learn tuning on it, because it's a little bit harder for me to replace that stuff. But anyways, yeah, let's get started with the first start with the turbo hanging off. All the hard stuff is done. I mean, really now it's just, what is it, downpipe, intercooler, and gauges and ECU. I didn't prime it of oil. I'm gonna check and see if we're getting oil before we're going even further. Definitely oil coming out. Boys, I think we're good to go. I think that's a good stopping point there. We still have tons to do, but there's still plenty to do. We've still got the intercooler, the downpipe, the wastegate lines, and a bunch of other little things to go on the car, but I think we covered a lot in this video. And if you enjoyed the video, please do leave a like and share, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.